All right, you are back with the Steve Malzberg Show, and here is former Congressman Pete Hoekstra, of course, the former chair of the House Intelligence Committee, and the author of a great piece that was just published on FoxNews.com on the outrage on the way the Obama administration and his team are handling this shutdown. And Congressman, welcome again, sir. Always a pleasure.
Steve, always good to be with you. Thank you.
All right, now, you and I spoke last week, and you were there on the mall. You were there at the World War II Memorial. You witnessed what took place, these World War II veterans having to break down the barricades, basically, and with the help of some Republican congressmen and Congresswoman Bachmann and others. And yesterday... And since then, they've closed that memorial. Yesterday, Nancy Pelosi, we just played a bite of her, thanking the president at the rally for illegal immigrants for opening the mall for this rally. And she alluded to the fact that we're thankful that the World War II memorial is open too, but it's not.
No, it's not. And the other thing, Steve, it's very, very sad. It's not only the World War II Memorial, but, if you cross the river, you also come to the Iwo Jima Memorial. They haven't put barricades around it. But, again, in a very mean-spirited way, there was a group of Florida World War II vets coming in on an honor flight. Some of them had landed on Iwo Jima. They wanted to go to Iwo Jima, but you know what the Park Service did? They barricaded the parking lot.
Oh,
so there's no place for the buses to come and unload these vets. It is mean-spirited, it is disrespectful, it is callous, and there's a whole lot of more words I could say that you can't publish, you can't put on TV and you can't put on radio. These are folks who, fought, their colleagues died for our country, and this president is closing the memorials. But, hey, if Nancy Pelosi wants to have a rally, hey, open it up. Katie, bar the door. Put up the stage and all of these types of things, and make sure that Nancy Pelosi can have her rally on the mall. It's absolutely outrageous.
It is outrageous, and also, of course, the cemetery in Normandy, but also. And this is something that the Pentagon threatened to do back in 2011. And I have the piece here from CBS News saying in 2011 that if there's a shutdown in the next couple of days, then we will not pay the families of those whose loved ones made the ultimate sacrifice. We will not pay the $100,000. Now, I had Congressman Gohmert on yesterday, right after this story broke, that the Pentagon has decided that they couldn't pay the $100,000 yesterday for this time around either. And he said, no, that was addressed in the bill that we passed to keep paying the military and taking care of the military. They all assumed that it was taken care of in that bill. The Pentagon purposely, I believe, based on their warnings and cries the last time around, and based on Obama's actions this time around, purposely made this an issue where they could have easily have just glossed over it.
Earlier this week, Secretary of Defense welcomed back 400,000 civilian employees, to come back to work at the Pentagon, and he can't pay the $100,000 that these families are entitled to. You've probably met with some of these families. I tried to meet with every single family who lost a loved one, either in Iraq or in Afghanistan. These families, every time I went in, I thought, oh man, this is going to be hard. They may be angry or whatever, but man, they were awesome. True American patriot families. They'd say their loved one went over there because they wanted to fight, they wanted to keep America safe. And I'd sometimes walk away embarrassed, saying, I thought this was going to be hard, and these people, they were more comfort to me than I was to them. And now we're saying, your son died, your husband died, your mom died, or whatever, and we're not going to give you the $100,000. The next thing that you'll find is, who knows, maybe Secretary Hagel will say, oh, by the way, we also can't afford to buy the American flag. We can't send the color guard out anymore. We can't, Steve, this is America. This is totally un-American. We are a compassionate country. We are a creative company. If Secretary Hagel, if the president wanted to find a way to make this work, they could have done it, but the bottom line is they're looking for ways to inflict pain, not to alleviate pain, and they're picking on the most vulnerable people today. 95-year-old World War II vets, families that are grieving because they have lost a loved one. I can't think of a sadder example of behavior by a president. We can have policy differences, but man, let's not take it out on the most vulnerable at a time where they have these huge needs. Like I said, I've met with these families. They are true heroes. Their loved ones who died are true heroes, and this is the thanks that we get. As a nation, we should be embarrassed and ashamed.
I couldn't agree more. Now we got Fisher House picking up the tab. The House of Representatives passed this 425-0 today. I don't know what the Senate is doing that they haven't passed it yet, and the president hasn't signed it. We're talking to Congressman Pete Hoekstra here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Let me ask you, as I've asked several people, we've seen the actions of this president, and I think this is a very different situation than a Clinton and a Reagan and a Bush. Not just because he says he won't talk or negotiate about the debt or the shutdown, and lies about it and says it's never been done before, but because I don't think this man is beyond inflicting pain upon this country. Because I think a little bit of him thinks that maybe we deserve a little pain because the Constitution's a flawed document, the whole thing. How far is he going to go?
Who knows? I mean, it is unprecedented. Bill Clinton. He did not have a tenure when it came down to politics. He didn't try any of this stuff, and then he wouldn't highlight it and all of these types of things. I got to believe that the House and Senate wouldn't highlight it and all of these types of things. I got to believe that the House and Senate
off the cliff with a 37% approval rating today by AP.
Yeah, they're going to follow them right off the cliff, and I think as people start seeing this, they're starting to recognize that this is a president who doesn't want to work it out, and they're seeing it by the examples that you've brought up, what he's doing with and the American people are by and large they're all saying all these guys are bums, but because they can't get this worked out. But clearly the decisions that the president and his administration are making are clearly the decisions that the president and his administration are making are.
Obama couldn't buy the media coverage and support that they've gotten, almost 100% media support, and still, while they blame Republicans like 62%, they still blame Democrats like 58%. So the Democrats it's not working out for them the way they figured it would.
No, it's not. It's very different than 1995 because this president is acting and behaving very differently than 1995. Bill Clinton, showed leadership, as did Newt Gingrich. But they got down and said this is really hard, but we're going to work it. Right. The other thing you didn't mention, Steve, not only is this
20 seconds, Congressman. Go ahead.
He's hurting our veterans. We also have the Secretary of the Treasury trying to panic our financial markets. Rather than offering some level of confidence, he's trying to talk the markets down.
And Moody's said that's not the case. We would not default. Hey, Congressman, got to go. Thank you as always.
Always good to talk to you. Thanks,
Congressman Pete Hoekstra on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV, and radio.